let us start with creating database. How to create database in Android app. In Android app, you have to use Sqlite database. We have to use Sqlite database. To create Sqlite database, let us start with the new project by using file new project, then empty activity, then select next, and it asks you to give project name. Give a project name, that is, you can give any name. I'm going to give project name as student database student database app database app. Okay, then select finish. And if there are some other window, existing window, you can close those existing windows you can close. Okay, now this is a new project that you have created. In this new project, you have to right click on com.example.std database app folder. Right click on this and create new Java class. Why you have to create new Java class? Because here you are going to use Sqlite database. Okay, Sqlite database is object oriented database, and here you have to create class for Sqlite database. To use methods of Sqlite database, you have to create a Java class, new Java class, and type the class name. Give class name anything. For example, I'm going to give std data as class name and press enter. You can see here it creates class with the name std data. It creates the class with the name std data. And now here you know that to make use of SQLite, you have to extends SQLite open helper. You have to select SQLite open helper. Select SQLite open helper. As soon as you select Sqlite open helper, it shows this red underline, indicates you need to implement abstract methods of Sqlite open help. Implement method. Select implement methods, and then it shows on create and on upgrade as two methods. Don't do anything here, just select OK. Just select OK. Okay, it creates on create and on upgrade two methods. Okay, still it is showing red underline. Once again keep the mouse on that red underline. Okay, once again keep the mouse on the red underline, and it shows create constructor matching super. Okay, create constructor matching super. Click on this. Then it shows Sqlite open helper as the constructor name with some default parameters. Just select OK. Now this red underline gone, indicates it is created the constructor by calling super method, that is by calling base class constructor. Now the next step is you have to create a database name. Okay, which database you are going to create? Declare the database name as static variable. Declare database name as static variable. How you can declare the database name as static variable? By using the word public static string, then variable name if you want to give variable name as db name, okay, equal to give a database name. If you want to give database name as student.db, give database name as student.db, then put semicolon. Okay, this way you can give database name, that is student.db, and assign it as variable db name. Okay, the next step is you have to create a table. To create a table, you need to create it inside onCreate method. Okay, inside the onCreate method you should create table. Okay, you have to use db, that is object name, which is already taken as parameter. Use that object name db dot, then use execute SQL, select the method execute SQL, and type here create table command. Okay, create table similar to Microsoft SQL, MySQL. Okay, similar to MySQL. Create table, and then table name student table or std table, create table std table, and then use variable or attribute names. If you want to give usn, give usn, which is of type text, comma name, which is of type once again text, comma marks, or any other field that you want to give marks, which is of type number. Okay, this way you have created database table by using create table command. Okay, once you create database table, the table will be created when you execute this. Next step is how to write data or content into the database table. To write content into the database table, we need to code. We need to go to main activity to code to store data in the database. Okay, first we have to create interface to enter the data, because data that is required to be inputted or stored in the database need to be taken from user interface, or without using user interface you can store data directly in the code by assigning data in the variables. Okay, let us store or get data from the user. First remove this hello world and edit text, and drag and drop plain text, because you need to enter some data. Okay, drag and drop plain text, text boxes, drag and drop plain text boxes. I'm going to use 3 fields or 3 text boxes here. Okay, and 2 buttons, to one to save. Okay, one to save the data, one button to save the data, another button to show or read data from the database. Okay, and you have created the interface. Now you have to fix the position by using top handle and left handle. At least 2 handles you have to fix. Okay, and here you are going to fix top and left handle. Here also you are going to fix top handle and left handle of the interface. And next button, you are going to fix top handle and left handle, and this button you are going to fix once again top handle and left handle. Okay, this way you can see design component tree, and you can see here all are having yellow color, no error in the fixing the handles. And the face of the button text you can change, as well as you can change id. First id is save, because you are going to save, and text you give text as save. Here this text, here first select refractor, okay, and this text change the face value of the button as save, and change the face value of this button as read. Okay, read, because you are going to read the data, and read data you have to store. Okay, you have to store read data as the label. Okay, now you change the id as bt and read. You have changed the id as bt and read for read button. Select refractor, and for save button you are given as save. Okay, then to show the data, that is read data, you have to keep one text view. Okay, text view, this to show read data, okay, which is stored in the database. And fix the vertical and horizontal handle. Fixed vertical handle to top of save button, and left handle to left of parent, this way, this to show the data. Okay, now you have to go to main activity. Here first you have to create database object inside this. Okay, database class you have already created, that is std data. Okay, std data is the database class, and create object name as anything. I'm going to give object name as std. Okay, I have just declared the database object. Okay, next thing is first you have to map whatever user interfaces you created with the objects. Okay, you have created text view. Okay, therefore you have to create text view type of object. Okay, text view t1, that is to show the result, semicolon. And next you have created edit text or plain text. You have to create object of edit text. Edit text object name you can give as usn txt usn usn comma use standard name txt usn, and then txt name, next txt marks. These are three edit text user interfaces you have created for that three objects you are creating to map. And then button you can make use of b1 comma b2, or if it shows the red color just import the class button class, it imports. Okay, now you have to map, you know how to map. Okay, and by t1 equal to find view by id, find view by id, find view by id, give r dot id dot, and for text view you have not given any id, just select the text view. And next for edit text txt usn equal to find view by id in bracket r dot id dot, and you have created 3 edit text or 3 plain text. First one is, you have not given any id, therefore you can select for first edit text person name 1, same id, and then better to give id. Without giving id, it takes its default id. Okay, and for txt name equal to find view by id r dot id dot second user interface you created, that is second plain text, and third plain text to store the marks, txt marks equal to find view by id in bracket r dot id dot this edit text person 3. Okay, you have created 3 text objects and you mapped to user interface. Next one is to create the button b1 equal to find view by id r dot id dot, first one is save button, you created save button, map and attach on click listener event, okay, to the button. But to attach on click listener event, you have to give a view dot implements view dot on click listener. Okay, now you can see, you see a red mark. This is because you have not implemented the method on click. But first attach on click listener by using set on click listener and view and this as the parameter. This indicates b1 as the object, and next b2 equal to find view by id. Find, this is preparing the interface for your this is nothing but mapping the object as well as attaching on click event. Okay, find view by id r dot id dot, and then save over next btn read to read. This b2 button is mapped to btn read object, btn read user interface. b2 object is mapped to btn read user interface. Now b2 dot set on click listener, select set on click listener, okay, and give the parameter this. Okay, thus mapping is over. Next thing is in the on click event, okay, you have to override first public, override the method on click, okay, if public void on click, if it won't shows, 1 minute, make use of this parameter as a view type of object view, and then open flower bracket, close flower bracket. Still it's showing the red because this has to be declared and defined inside the class. Okay, inside the class public void on click method. Okay, here if you click on v dot equals, if you click on b1 object b1, then you have to do save function. Okay, to perform save function, v dot equal b1. You have to perform save function. Okay, this has to be given inside if condition. Save function. How to do save function? To write data in the database. Nothing but save function. What steps we need to follow? That we see. Here we should make use of Sqlite database that we already created. Okay, to make use of Sqlite database that we already created in std_data.java class. Here you can see the constructor is available, which is calling the base class constructor by using super. Okay, and it is receiving 4 parameters. Now we have to call this constructor. To call this constructor in the main activity, whatever object you created, that's std, you have to make use of that object std equal to, okay, and you have created std data as the Java class. Okay, you should make use of new, okay, new, and then std data, and it is a Java class, and here there are 4 parameters you have to pass. That is nothing but you are calling the constructor which is defined here. Okay, and you have to call that constructor. When you call that constructor, it calls super constructor. Okay, here first we have to call the class constructor, that is std data constructor we have to call by making use of 4 parameters. Okay, expected 4 arguments. What 4 arguments we have to give, that we see. To call that constructor we need to pass parameters. Okay, std is the object of database. Std equal to new std data. Std data is the class name we created for database, and then the first parameter is get base context, indicates current context. Okay, and this is a base context. And next one is database name variable. See here in the student database class, okay, in this std data class we have created the database name variable as db name. DB name is database name variable, same variable we have to use, and this is a static variable, therefore we can make use of the class name, that is std data. std data is a class name dot db name, and next 2 parameters are, first one is factory, just take null and keep the version 1. Okay, this way we are calling the constructor. Once we call the constructor, database name is initialized or passed. Database name is passed to the constructor with the current context. Next thing is how to save the data in the database. Okay, to write data content into the database, we have to create the object of Sqlite database. We have to create object of Sqlite database. Okay, Sqlite database. Make use of Sqlite database class name which is given here, and take object name for making use of write table database instance. Okay, now we are making use of write table database instance on the student database. Therefore, you make use of w for write table std as the object name, wstd equal to database object name that you have created is std. Make use of that std dot, okay, then use get write table database, get write table database. Okay, if it is not showing, let us see. We did one small mistake here. We have to declare this object, database object, as class variable in the public section. Okay, as class variable, not as method variable. Then only that std is available to this method also. Okay, because we have to make use of std object outside on create method and inside on click method. Now if you make use of std object by putting dot, it shows the instance of get writable database method. Okay, select get writable database. Okay, get writable database method and then put semicolon. Okay, thus you created object of writable database and object name is wstd. By using this object, you have to write or insert data into the database. But to insert data into the database, you know that in the interface you have used three plain texts. Okay, where you are going to enter the data. This data has to be received. Okay, that data can be received through the text box objects txt usn, txt name and txt marks. Okay, now first you have to extract that data and store that data and make use of a variable susn. Susn is a local variable equal to by using the text object txt usn. Okay, text box object dot get text. Okay, get text method and convert this to toString, because otherwise it takes it as sequence of characters. Now the data is stored in the susn. Similarly for the name name equal to the text box object is txt name. Okay, dot get text. Okay, txt name dot get text dot toString. Okay, toString. Okay, then string. Okay, next attribute is of this marks. Now we use the data type as string only, s marks, and next later we convert it into integer. Okay, s marks equals to the variable name you given as txt marks. Okay, dot get text. Okay, get text dot toString. Thus all three data extracted from the text box and stored in the variable in these three variables. Next, to store it in the database, you have to wrap it into a content. You need to create object of content values. Okay, create object of content values, because you are going to store as entire wrapper content value. Use content value, content values, and then use the object name as cv. Okay, cv equal to new content values. New content values semicolon. Now cv is created as the object of content values. Now you have to put whatever data extracted in the variable, that is susn, s name, s marks, into the content value object by using cv dot put method. Okay, and here you have to make use of this attribute names of the database. Attribute names of the database you already created in the std java as usn name marks. Same you have to give in the main activity. Okay, cv dot put in double quotation usn is a field name you have given in the database table as attribute, and here it is yes usn. This is a string that you have taken as a variable. Okay, next cv dot put. Okay, next you have given name as a in double quotation. Okay, name as a string or attribute. Okay, here you can see you are given name and next one is marks. Similarly, the case sensitivity has to be properly maintained. Name, you have to store name variable that you already created here, and then cv dot port. Okay, marks. Marks is the attribute name of the database that should be given in double quotation. That should be given in double quotation. Give it in the double quotation, comma. Marks is a marks is a variable. Marks is a variable. Okay, once you wrap the attributes, values of the attribute in the CV, now you have to insert CV into the database table. To insert data into the database table, you have to make use of WSTD object, that is writable database object instance, and WSTD dot insert. Okay, you have to make use of insert method of writable database instance. Okay, and then what's a table? 3 arguments. First argument is the table. Okay, table name, you have given table name as std table. Okay, same name you have to use here, std name as the table, std name as the table, sorry, std table as the table name, and give in the double quotation the table name, comma, and next what value need to be written, that is content value. See, the next parameter type has to be content value object. You know, content value object you already created, that is CV, comma, the next parameter, the last parameter can be null. Okay, null parameter, third parameter is null. Sorry, the third parameter has to be just exchange the parameter here. The second parameter is null, and third parameter is values. Third parameter is content values object. Okay, just exchange. Now this is proper. The first parameter is table name, second parameter is null. Okay, and third parameter is content values, and this null column indicates to what columns you want to insert. You are going to insert to all the columns, therefore you give this as null, indicates no column filter, and you are going to insert to all the columns the values stored in the object CV. Okay, thus the values are inserted in the table. Okay, this is the way to insert the value into the table. And next, how to read the content from the database. If you want to read the content from the database, that you have to do if you press the second button, that's the read button. Okay, now this is method of button B1. Okay, if the condition is satisfied, if you press on save button, this executes. Otherwise, else if you press on B2 button, that is if V dot equals B2 button, B2 button object, or what button object you created, same button object name you have to give, and then what method you have to implement, that is to read the content from the database table. To read the content from the database table, first you have to create instance of database instance of readable database. Okay, by following the same step, Sqlite database as a class name, and then rstd. I'm going to give database name object as rstd. This is readable instance equal to std, that is a database object you created at the beginning, dot get readable database. From the database object you are going to access readable instance. Okay, you are going to create readable instance by using get readable database, and the object is rstd. Okay, now to read from the database, you have to make use of cursor. You have to make use of cursor. Okay, and now cursor is showing red, therefore select import class. And then database is your database, a readable database object rstd. Okay, rstd is a readable database object dot query, and the table name, what table name you created here, it's the same table name you have to give. You are given table name as std table, use same name here, std table as the table name, and then this attributes you have to change. This attributes nothing but student database table attributes. The attribute name you have to give. Okay, attribute name, the attribute names you have given in the std.java as usn name marks, same you have to give your usn comma name comma marks. But one problem is there, when you are storing the marks in the database, you have to make a change here, because the marks is string here. You have to convert this into number, okay, by using integer dot parse int. Okay, therefore first you have to create a type int or number, int m equal to integer dot parse int, and make use of s marks. Okay, because s marks is string. Okay, then when you insert the here you have to insert m is the integer. Okay, now when you read, you are given the attribute names. Okay, usn name, and then here same heading you have to display. Okay, that is usn and then name, this is for displaying the heading, and then marks. Okay, give heading marks. Okay, and then here where you want to show the label is here text view is here t1. Okay, you have to show it as t1, therefore the label is t1. Okay, and next same label you have to make use to append data which is selected from the query, append to same text view. Okay, and column index 0 1 2 indicates column usn name marks will be appended. Okay, and if there is more than one record, okay, the cursor will move through all the records by using move next method. Thus this if method is closed. You know, while cursor dot move next to loop through all the records, because there will be more than one record. Okay, this way you have to read from the database. See, when you are going to read from database, there are many parameters you have to give in the rstd.query method, because you are going to retrieve from the table name std table rstd.query to retrieve or to read. Okay, rstd is the object of readable database. This way you are going to display the content as the text views label by using column index 0 1 2. This way this program work. Okay, now we execute this. You can see the output. To execute this, run this. If there is no error, it executes properly, and we can see the interface and the emulator. As soon as emulator is started, okay, first it builds and next it starts the emulator. It takes some time. We executed this program and we can see interface is displaying here, and I'm going to give USN as 4CB12, some USN we give, and then name ABCD and marks we give 100, marks we give 100. Okay, now you press save button. It is stored in the database, and if you click on read button, it reads and displays the content as text view. You click on this click mark. See the previous record I saved twice. Now see, this is USN, this is name, this is marks. You can see whatever data you store here, it is displayed as the database text view label. Okay, 14, some name you give PQR, and then marks you give, then type save. Okay, click on save, and when you click on read, it displays the content, whatever content which is previously stored, as well as a new content it display. This way you can access database, as well as you can write content to the database. Kindly practice this. Okay, this is a simple method of using the database.